Now on Afternoon Live, let's go nationwide. We can see what's happening around the country in our daily visit to the BBC newsrooms around the UK. Let's go to Dominic Heale. He's in Nottingham, where a free and confidential drug testing facility is going to be available at one of Derbyshire's biggest festivals this year. It's trying to prevent substance-related deaths. Talk to you in just a moment. And in Salford, Beccy Barr with news of that not-so-secret Paul McCartney gig. Thrilled fans in Liverpool last night, and she's going to tell us more about that in just a moment. But first of all, Dominic, what is the Why Not Festival?
Crazy name, crazy festival, I suppose you could say. Well, the Why Not Festival takes place at a place called Pike Hall near Matlock this weekend. Over 30,000 people are expected, and this year's festival lineup includes Jamiroquai and a favourite of yours, Simon, the Libertines. It's been taking place for 13 years now, although last year the festival site was reduced to a quagmire by incessant rain, and it had to be curtailed. Obviously, that looks less likely this year. More likely to have problems getting your tent pegs into the ground, I would imagine.
Well, I don't know. The weather forecast, your area is right on that list. But anyway, at least I know how to say Jamiroquai, by the way. Now, tell us about this drug tent.
Well, it's not about testing people to see if they have taken drugs. It's testing the drugs that people perhaps fully intend to take. Of course, the organisers, they have a very strict drug prevention policy. It says so on their website. That policy is prevent, pursue and protect. That is, prevent drugs on site, pursue the dealers and protect festival goers. But there's another P word this year, and that is pragmatism. The view is people take drugs at music festivals. And sadly, there have been deaths at other events. Well, the aim is to make sure that the substances festival goers take haven't been adulterated and don't contain high levels of toxic chemicals or other stuff that could kill or seriously harm them. In previous years, fans going to the Why Not Festival have taken drugs that were found to include rat poison and washing powder. Well, the confidential and free drug testing service at Why Not's being run by an independent outfit called The Loop. You turn up, you hand over the drugs, you return a short time later for the results. You'll also, at that point, be offered some information, perhaps a little bit of a lecture on the dangers of drug taking. Well, today we went up to the festival site and spoke to one of the organisers.
So festivals have a very high concentration of people at them, and as is often the case with music events, some people will choose to use drugs. So it's a really good opportunity for us to engage with people who might never have spoken to a health professional about their drug use before. We see about 9 in 10 of the people who speak to us have, never spoken to anybody about their drug use before. And it also allows us to cooperate really closely with the police and work with them and give them intelligence and feed kind of back and forth and learn from each other.
Dominic, you know there will be those who say this officially condones illegal drug use.
Well, those involved say absolutely not. Everyone involved, Derbyshire Police, for instance, they say the service is intended to keep festival goers safe, and it's not a kind of a free pass for people to take illegal substances. They say, and I'll quote them, our stance will always be the same. People should not take drugs. However, we are realistic in the view that some ticket holders will still choose to buy them. Of course, it's worth pointing out that no drug test is 100% safe. There'll always be risks. But I guess you're right. Some people will kind of see this as a toleration or of something that is just plain illegal outside the gates of the festival, a kind of normalisation that could encourage young people to dabble because at least they know the drugs they're taking won't kill them. The counter-argument here is that if testing prevents just one death, it will be worth it.
Dominic, thank you very much for that. Now let's go to Salford. Beccy, this, as I say, not so secret gig now, but how did it all start? We're talking about the Cavern.
That's right. Surprise, surprise, it's all about a new album. But to be a bit less cynical and flesh it out with a bit more detail, Paul McCartney, of course, made famous by the Beatles many decades ago now, was at Liverpool's Institute of Performing Arts on Wednesday. And in conversation with Jarvis Cocker on stage, he dropped a big hint that there was about to be a secret gig the following night. Then came Beatlemania. He didn't give away the location, but it doesn't take a great work of academia to figure out it might have been at the Cavern Club where the Beatles started off their career. So people flocked to the Cavern Club and there was lots going on there. So it was probably a decent bet that that's where it was going to be. However, people camping out, queues of people waiting for tickets for that gig. It turned out they were giving out free tickets on the other side of Liverpool at the Echo Arena. So people dashed across town to try and get those tickets there. In the end, there were only 150 tickets or so being given away. 250 people only at that gig at the Cavern, and that took place on Thursday, and it looked like it was a really exciting event.
Well, but how did fans and, well, there must have been critics, how did they all react?
Well, you know, it's a long time since the Beatles started up, but they still inspire such mania amongst their fans. People absolutely loved it. They came from all around the world, as you might expect, and they descend anyway on Matthew Street, where the Cavern Club is. But when word came out of this concert, there was a huge amount of excitement in the city about it, and people absolutely loved the gigs, as these fans demonstrated after the show.
Oh, it was amazing. I can't believe that just happened. I'm just in shock.
Extraordinary. My head is melted. Mind-blowing.
Amazing. We were jumping all the time, singing all his songs. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah, look at the crowds there as well. Not all those people, of course, even got in. Not to rain on anyone's parade, but a point of fact, that Cavern Club isn't actually the original Cavern Club. The original Cavern Club, where the Beatles played almost 300 times in the early 60s, was actually filled in 1973. So they built a new replica Cavern Club just down the road, and that's where this event took place. But it does look like a really special event. Lots of people obviously didn't get tickets for that. Paul McCartney is going to be touring around the world, so lots more people will get to see him then.
Not to rain on the parade, as she rained on the parade. Becky, thank you very much. Becky Barr there in Salford. And Dominic, you remember the Beatles?
Very much so. I was a great fan. I was only 10 when they were formed, however, I must point out.
Yeah, OK. Dominic, thank you very much. Dominic, Becky, that's nationwide. Thank you.
I meant when they...
And if you would like to see more on any of those stories, you can access them via the BBC iPlayer. And a reminder, we go nationwide every weekday afternoon at 4:30 here on Afternoon Live.